the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys. Just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquill, and I am setting up my own cinematic universe every time that I speak.
That's funny. I'm John Gilardi, and I didn't see that twist coming. It really got me.
Okay.
Nah.
Yeah. Today, we're talking about the latest from Australian film director and noted horror guy James Wan, co-originator of the Saw movie franchise, originator of the Insidious franchise and the Conjuring franchise, and director of Aquaman and the next Aquaman and randomly Furious 7.
Even the Aquaman's random. But hey, good for him.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just the Furious 7 stands out.
Yeah.
Furious 7 one stands out real.
Nothing stands out like the Guy Ritchie Aladdin movie, though.
Yeah. Well, you're not wrong. That one, that one is an interesting one. Starring some people that are in this movie, including Wilmington native Maddie Hassan as the sister. So hell yeah, there you go.
Oh, damn. That's cool.
Yeah. The latest simultaneous release for HBO Max, which I guess I can stop saying that because they're all like simultaneously released now.
For Warner Bros, right? I think they're ending that soon, though. Like, I don't think that's like a thing they're going to be doing continuously. But continue your setup. Sorry.
Okay. No. That's fine. I set it up. It is Malignant. Malignant. There you go.
Indeed.
Set up.
The movie. Malignant, the movie. The movie film.
Malignant, the movie.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want me to synopsize it? Is this the part where I do that?
This is the part you do. This is our pattern. This is our pitter patter we do.
This is it.
This is it.
It's hard to synopsize. Okay, so this woman's having dreams where she's seeing people get murdered.
Yeah.
You could almost call them. Okay, what's the dreaming when you can't move? Sleep paralysis. So
paralysis.
You can kind of interpret it as that, and she, like, starts to get involved with the cops, and like they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're suspicious of her because she's seeing these happen, and there's people who are, living in a practical world, and they're like, well, you just saw this happen, and how'd you know? Like, whatever. And so,
how do you know all these details about this?
And it opens up with a some kind of biohazard monster thing, and you learn how that kind of ties in. I think pretty much from here on out, we're just going to open the can of worms. So
yeah. Here's I wrote a synopsis just because I was like, there's a lady who's pregnant, her husband's an asshole, he bashes her head against the wall, and then she's like, actually, we can't make up and be friendly tonight because you bashed my head against the wall. So he sleeps on the couch and then gets killed by a mysterious home intruder, which sets off a chain of events that ends in a late night jaunt through an abandoned remains of an insane asylum or something, and then a really high fucking body count.
Yeah, very high.
Very high.
This movie is so interesting in a good way, but also like, I still don't know how I feel about it.
I still don't know how I feel about it either, because for me, one of the first things that when I was watching, even that like little opening sequence that they have, I was like, is this cheeseball because it's bad, or is it cheeseball because it's aware and it's good? And it felt like it was a lot of the times like right in the line right between those two.
Yeah, I never understood where the tone was very weird. Like at times it felt
very, very weird.
Sometimes I felt like straight up anime.
It did. A lot of the times it felt like straight up anime.
And then a lot of the times it felt like a Resident Evil game. And then sometimes the art direction was super Art Deco. And then it goes back to the old colonial Victorian house stuff for the house. and it's all over the place, and it's on it in a way that
I can't tell if it's bad. I can't.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. Cutting to the end. I guess I don't necessarily like this movie. I don't know. We'll discover it as we go. But it's just like there's parts of it that look great. The dialogue is probably not ever good. That's what I would say. But there's times where it looks good, and the whole movie is very good at building tension. Even if it's stupid and you know what's going to happen, it felt like the tension was still there. Because the words are so bad, but the tension is good. And it looks pretty good, but it does sometimes, it shifts dramatically. And I'll say one thing, too, is like the music, I could not tell.
Oh, the music was so bizarre.
I couldn't tell if I was like, what is this? Or if I liked the driving sort of like synth. And then like the reference to Where Is My Mind? You know, like there's the...
Yeah, it was the Fight Club ending song,
yeah,
right?
The Pixies, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but it's so funny to me because all the stuff feels like it was like kind of like so obvious that it was jokes. Like her fucking house, like there's times where it's so like foggy and like mysterious in there that it's like, well, this must be a horror movie because it's foggy and mysterious in this room. Like you got people, hey, we can't sell you this house unless you got something mysterious in your past that could come get you, or you like the arcane. So it's just like, I don't know, man. It's so spooky. It was a half-finished house, like on the inside, and it's like in The Conjuring, there was like kind of a reason for that, where they had like just moved in and they got it on the cheap.
Yeah.
And like it feels like a lot of times that there's like a reason for why things are half-finished, that they is like a throwaway line. But in this movie, they're just like, hey, this is just kind of this is the house it is.
Yeah.
Looks cool, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that like that kind of comes up with like a big point that I felt is things just felt off in that sense of like, why are they in this house? You know, it's just for the art direction, the setup, and it's like cheap because it doesn't feel right. Maybe cheap isn't the right word, but it doesn't feel. It just like it all feels aesthetic. Like there's nothing about this woman or her husband that makes me think this is the house they live in. You know,
bro.
And
right from that, like that's from that opening sequence. Once we get past like our thing and we get to it, that opening sequence with her and her husband is so like direct, you know, where it's just like, he's like, I was watching that. She's like, come on, let me rest. And he's like, I fucking hate you now. Don't do this to me. And I was like, what are you doing?
It was too to the point of showing that he's a piece of shit, and to like they needed her to bash her head, obviously, and it just felt very sloppy. It felt very sloppy. I didn't buy it because who watches during the middle of the day UFC? Who watches
in the
it
middle of the day
in the bedroom? So it's just like
he wasn't even watching it. He was on his phone.
I feel like 10 out of 10 domestic abusers, maybe not, but a high proportion would be like, would just be like, yeah, I don't know. But I'm saying like, I guess logical people or people of logic, even pieces of shit. And they would be like, yeah, I'll go watch it on the better TV in a more comfortable position. Go to bed. You know,
yeah,
like
where my wife, my person that even if I'm an asshole, I want you to carry my baby to term. I guess if I'm gonna look at it in that sort of like possessive way, if I'm an asshole and I'm like, and she's like, oh, I feel awful, the baby in my stomach is like giving me a hard time, and I'm like, fuck you and the baby that you're gonna lose anyway. Like it's like that's not a reasonable response even from a terrible person. They're like, you know, well, you probably did something wrong. Yeah, I'll give you your space so you can think about what you did, or I don't know, but it's like. Whatever also, awful thing, it doesn't make sense what they did.
No, it doesn't make sense. It just like if he's so concerned about her having these miscarriages, why does he sucker punch her in the stomach and slam her head against the wall?
Yeah.
and like her whole thing is she needs rest. She's very pregnant. Like, go let her rest. It's really weird. And then when she has the door locked, he's not taking accountability, but he's not escalating. He's not a loose cannon. So then it's like,
No, but he went so fast.
Yeah, but it's just like, why? So how is he? Where is he at? Like, how much of a piece of shit? You just wanted him to be a piece of shit to get this headbang in,
Yeah.
and then have him isolated. It was so weird. And so that's a bigger problem for me with the film, is that it's the tone, but it feels like a film. I always say, in some cases, that was directed by someone from a different planet, or sometimes in some cases directed by a non-English speaker, or something like where there's that kind of disconnect. But that's not the case here.
Which is
and
strange.
obviously James Wan is from this planet too. So like, it's not an alien, and it's not.
He's also directed really good movies. Like Insidious and The Conjuring are really fun movies.
Yeah.
Even Saw, like the first Saw, the one that he directed, is like a meditation. And there's a lot of like, I don't know, it's been a minute since I've seen Saw, but I remember like there's a reason that Saw took people by storm, is because it was like fucking brutal and everything, but also like the tension was built really well because there were real characters and there's like a real sort of like moral dilemma. And you felt like there was a bad choice, because neither of the people were assholes.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
Yeah, so those felt genuine. This didn't. I think it should have leaned into itself better. Like, I had kind of like, so you have the house. Everything in there just feels like The Conjuring or whatever. And then you have like the city stuff. And that just feels like Resident Evil or a Gotham City, which is cool.
You're right. It does kind of feel like a Gotham City. And
then you randomly have the Art Deco.
The police station.
Well, the police station's very Resident Evil too. But then that like that insane asylum just looks like, I don't know, something from BioShock, or I don't know, like it's just like a super Art Deco. It's everywhere, and I think if it leaned into itself, it would have kind of been cool, like not cool because it is cheesy, but it would, like, if it leaned into that sense of style, it would have turned it cool, like a Crow or like a Batman or a Sin City or something like that, because like it does kind of turn into a superhero movie in a sense,
that's why I said I was doing my superhero connected universe, and it's so funny, or my cinematic universe. It does kind of turn into that, which is kind of cool. We could talk about that later, but it is. I think too, there's something else I feel like they should have leaned into, that they were like on the verge of, and you said it. You said it earlier, where they were like, the characters are like living in a real world where they have like reasonable responses to things, where the lady detective who's on the case is like, it's her, and then the sister is like, I don't know. It also feels like the sister is a little bit kind of in that same, where she's like, this is weird. You just, what the fuck, like, where there's like, and I feel like that's something that they could have played with a little bit more, instead of sort of, because we sort of had our main two characters, Detective K, and then the main lady, Madison, I want to say, who's played by Annabelle Wallace, not Maddie Hassan. But the main two characters were very much in that like cheeseball sort of anime, like over the top, the like traditional horror movie type thing, where it's like, what is happening? Why? I don't believe. And they just keep heading further and further into the mystery, rather than like approaching it like, wait a second, we'll figure this out.
Yeah. It hits the trope so hard that it's almost, what is it trying to say something here? Is it aware, like the files and digging deeper into the case, and that shit felt like such a dated way to tell this kind of story which is fine.
And even,
I guess it's like a fun little nostalgia, and I don't know.
I don't know, but so much of the stuff, like even that, like I was like, of course, there's gonna like the going to the asylum at the end, finding the secret at the end is such like like a plug and play horror movie, and then they find the secret, and the secret is blah blah blah, and it just felt like it was like one to one to one to one, and I mean even all of these shots of like the house, and like I was saying before with like the foggy stuff, where it was like everything is indicating that this should be spooky, and like I don't know, it does kind of feel like that, like what you're saying, where he's directing from another planet.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
This is a weird one. It's like still kind of fun, but it's also not. And I guess like for me, I don't know if I would watch this movie again. And we're about 15 or so minutes into it. Let's talk about, I guess, the twist a little bit, just because at some point there's no way of not talking about it, I guess.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's no twist. And like I saw the trailer. I was in the movie theater for Candyman, and I was with my friend, and we were watching the trailer, and I was like, it's her, right? Like there's so many early hints in the trailer that it's what it is. And then I guess like that's what it is. There's a lot of fun notes that I have of like fun guesses that I have of me trying to like figure out what the second layer of the twist is.
Like you feel like there's more to it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, like cause and then, as we get to it, where it's her, what's it called? A teratoma, where it's her twin that she absorbed in the womb, who didn't completely become absorbed, who is also controlling her. So she's sort of like,
yeah, like the chimera or whatever. Two sets of DNA in the same organism or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. And then whatever it is, where her vestigial twin is on her back, and they cut it out of her, and that's why she's got two personalities or whatever. But for me, I was like, okay, what is it? What's the thing? Does she have a brother? Maybe there is a brother. And it was like sort of right with that. And I was like, well, what if she has cancer? Like, what if she has brain cancer, and that's making her like black out? And again, I was also sort of right. But there's like a bunch of like guesses that I have that are like, as I slowly figure it out, because the twist that it's her is not a twist.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious when you start to see the more and more of the figure, and it does a decent job of being mysterious with the figure. But once you see it, from that point on, and that kind of ruins that. And then you see her, and you have time to process it. You think about the gash on the back of her head, how the thing's moving backwards. It doesn't take much to add, one and one together.
Yeah. And it's pretty funny too. It's pretty funny too that I was like, she keeps touching the back of her head, and I was like, oh man, she's still bleeding from that. She probably has cancer or something like that, because that's one of the signs of cancer, is that if your blood doesn't clot the way that it's supposed to. Which is funny because
it's probably wants you to think that.
Yeah. James Wan, you got me, bud, even though you didn't get me. It's it's a pretty bad twist, but it's also like, I don't know. How did you feel about the payoff at the end, I guess, of our little twist?
What do you mean, like the way it ended? Like the conflict resolution? It wasn't clear.
Yeah, the way that the sort of the.
So she made him dream. Or I didn't really understand what the hell happened, honestly, and I think it was kind of weak. Because maybe I'm faulting it because I was too stupid to interpret it, or maybe it's hard to interpret. But I didn't understand where that twist was, or not that twist, because there's a twist. I don't know where that revelation was, where she like control, like he did things, and then we fast forward, rewind back, and she took control. Took control of. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah. So all right. So here's the jazz. As far as I understand it, whenever Gabriel, which is her vestigial twin's name, whenever he took over the body that they shared, he would implant memories. He would make her think that she was dreaming, and so she would freeze him in place, but there's still part of her consciousness that is aware and stuff. And so she did the same thing to him. So she let him think that he was, like, she made him believe that he was seeing him accomplish this mission that he wanted, you know, to kill everybody and be a great job at killing everybody, and somehow be superhumanly strong backwards. And then, so then she turned it on him and then used it to lock him away, is how I understand it. So she like flipped it on him in order to make him vulnerable.
I guess.
You feel?
Yeah.
Feel me?
I can connect.
It's very clear. It makes sense, John. It's so good.
The dots are connected by what I'm connecting the dots by what you said, I guess. But yeah, I don't.
But John doesn't love it.
I didn't like it. I don't even like it now that you explained it. I think. I don't know. The ending. If I can forget about that, I kind of like the weird superhero nature of it. I guess I didn't like the conflict. I mean, it's cool that she flipped it on him, that she got the power and whatever, but I didn't like it.
Okay.
That's my elaborate.
I kind of thought the
that.
payoff was. Yeah, I get you. I kind of liked the payoff. Like, and that's what I mean. I mean, I don't love it. I think it's a little bit convoluted, but I don't know. Anytime anybody takes power over someone who's been controlling them, I'm like, hell yeah, flip it on them. Use the power back at them. You got them, bro. You know, so that was good. But now the other thing too is like I really liked the sort of, and when I say I liked is like I liked and I hated the sort of obvious setup to the sequel, where I was like, I don't know, I felt like I was watching this movie in a dream because everything was so sort of obvious.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, yeah, they're setting up for the sequel. And maybe that's just because I've watched too many movies and we've talked about too many movies and stuff. But I was like, okay, no, nice. We set up the sequel. There's going to be a Malignant 2, Electric Boogaloo. Here we go. And now he has so many horror franchises because there's another Insidious coming out. I noticed, I saw on his IMDb.
Damn, he's making bank.
Yeah, dude.
He's got the secret sauce.
He's got that secret sauce. And he's Australian, which was something that I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he did the... Maybe he's just trying to have a signature, and that's why that house looks like all the other houses in his movies, even though if it doesn't fit. Maybe that's like the style.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks... Here's the thing. I think it's weird because, to me, this movie looks too clean to be James Wan's movies. Like, his movies, it feels like there's a lot of sort of, like... there's a lot of texture, and it felt very, like, set. It felt very much like a set and, like, just, like, not textured, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess generic is a word.
Yeah. And maybe it's just because it's too close to his style and, like, there's not, like, enough variation. And this one, I would say that Malignant didn't have enough of its own unique vibe, the way that The Conjuring has sort of, like, the throwback vibe.
Yeah,
or Insidious has sort of its vibe.
They should have leaned into the Gotham City Resident Evil vibe.
Yeah.
I think.
Now, now that
cool.
you've...
And it's the house.
Now that you
the house
mentioned
is the
it,
part that ruins it. And
Yeah.
it feels so disjointed. And, like, again, you don't even know, you don't know anything about these people to know or to feel that they fit into this house or this, like, they're like, that's what they're about. You know, you don't get that. They're not like alternative hipstery. You don't know anything about them. You don't even know what she does. Like, I thought she was like a nurse or something.
I think
it looked
she's
like
a nurse.
Yeah, she was wearing scrubs or something.
It looked like she was a nurse.
Yeah. But you just, I don't know. You don't get enough about it. And yeah, it was weird. And also the way she sees the creature definitely throws you off. And it's like it's trying to make you think there's no way it's her. But it just comes off as like weird and cheap then if you know, obviously it is her. The fact that she can see it and she's running from it, you know, you could say he's making her see this, or it's her with the brain issues, but it still feels,
It's a weird vibe.
I don't buy it, I guess. Like, it doesn't sell me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not believing that. And it's a weak way of setting up a twist. Especially when the twist it's already super obvious, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's a shot early when she's trying to hold the door back from Gabriel, from the intruder. At that point, you're like, oh, there's an intruder who beat the shit out of the husband. Or, I mean, you're not. You're like, oh, she came down and beat the shit out of the husband. Mm-hmm. And then there's a shot where she's trying to hold the bedroom door shut. And the door gets pushed in, and there's nothing on the other side of it. There's nobody pushing it. And it does it a couple times. And the shot was in the trailer, and it's like, oh, so it's her. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was just so obvious that it was some sort of like... And I guess the thing is that it's like a vestigial twin is like, all right, that's kind of cool, I guess. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's like, I like it. It's obviously fantastical, whatever. But it's
fantastical.
Like, yeah, but it's a cool, like, logical,
that's new.
real world explanation for the creepy kid hearing voices, you know, or having something control it. So like that was cool. That was refreshing. That was like, I mean, again, still fantastical and I had a better other word, but you know, it's grounded.
Surreal or extra real, or
I don't remember the word, but either way, it was a cool way to, in terms of tropes, it took that trope of creepy children hearing voices and made it fresh and like grounded, with real logic, I guess you could say. So that was cool.
But they didn't play with it enough.
Yeah, and it was only played with really well in flashbacks. Like, I think, especially maybe when she became more aware, she had a heart. There's ways that he could have permeated into her, like her consciousness, like making her like a little dark. Like, he would control her to like do things when he was a child, you know, like to maybe kill the kids or to kill the parents or the kid or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, now that he's awoken, it would have been cool to have seen that, and then that maybe would have made the reversal of power or the reversal of control.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Do
a little Venom. Do a little goth Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Have her vibe down the street, throwing some extra dark eyeshadow. She's like, I'm a bad one now.
I'm a bad one.
I'm a bad one now. Also, I just want to like give a shout out to that adopted family for just like not giving a fuck. Just not at all. You know, they have all this video, they have all this evidence that this kid has so much fucked up stuff going on with her. And they're just like, man, there she goes trying to kill us again, trying to kill our unborn baby. Oh boy, there it is.
Yeah, it would take me.
Well, I guess we'll just be like, hey, stop, don't do that. Be like, get better control over your evil entity in your brain. But we're not gonna take it any further than that. And then
I would have a hard time
man.
trusting that. Hey, love's powerful. Good for them.
Love is powerful. Love is powerful. Love is dope. But it's also like, hey, if someone you love is like having manic episodes and like standing above you with a knife, and you love them, and you're like, listen, I don't want to die. I don't want. Let's talk. Let's figure this out. I don't know.
Well, I think, yeah, but I think that was a kind of. I bought that they didn't do anything to help her, especially in the 90s or mid 80s, whatever it was. That, especially with mental health and all that not being what it was today, just like ignoring the issue or it's a phase. I buy that. I mean, that's a pretty serious phase. I would be very freaked out if my child had a knife to me.
That's a phase. Oh, every kid goes through there. I'm gonna kill my. I mean, I think
there is
that
serious,
is some sort of thing.
There is serious denial though of people in those kinds of situations. So I mean, I do buy that. Like I said,
I buy it, but it's just like, and I buy the like forgiveness of it for sure, but the fact that there was so little contact, I don't know, because people got to grow up and live their own life, but I don't know. I guess the more that we dug into how old she was whenever she was still having connections with Gabriel, like I was like, well, why isn't she not more aware of this? When did she start to block this out? And again, that's nitpicky stuff. But that's because a lot of the other stuff wasn't really holding my attention and not moving fast enough. And because it was a lot of the stuff was just so obvious.
Yeah.
Also, there's a line in there that's really funny to me, where it's like, oh, she turned the award into a weapon. And I was like, it's a sword already. Like, it was a sword before it had a point and stuff. It had some, like, snakes or whatever around it, but it was already a sword.
Yeah.
It was already a dagger. You didn't have to do much to turn it into a weapon.
Well,
that didn't hit you.
No, I'm more just distracted by watching this movie in the background. How ridiculous the house is with a giant fan in it. Huge doggo in there.
He's upset at it too.
Well, the fact that like they turned the weapon was like this big goofy thing, and it was a weird fixture, like a weird thing to fixate on as a weapon. Obviously, I think one of the scientists got it in some kind of award or for some scientific achievement. I got like,
and it said excellence on it, and it would be like if they had tied it in somehow to her journey, like if she had always been put down, but they didn't really connect it up with anything narratively.
Yeah,
they were just like, yeah, it's an award that's there.
Yeah, I would have bought it if it was used to kill that one. Like, cool. Like, I guess fun little dramatic irony. Not dramatic irony, but just like a cool like story device. Like, take this, you doctor, like fuck you.
Yeah,
but
get out of here.
But the reason had like it was a recurring.
I'm
thing.
a bad one now.
I'm a bad one now with my trophy knife. But like it being a recurring weapon, like it's whatever. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't make a lot of sense. I don't know what the symbology is there. Using it, using it for everyone. It doesn't.
I mean, it'd also be different if it was like. It'd be different if it was like the scalpel that they cut him out with.
Yeah.
Unless it was the award that they got for saving her or whatever, which I don't know. All right, here's a cool story. Let me spin this at you. They did this amazing procedure. Also, there was a line in there that was like child reconstructive, like where I specialize in child reconstruction, and I was like, that's weird. Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna let it go. But so all right. They do this great thing on her. She's like, wow, great. I owe these people my life. I love them. I have my own thing. And they've done a lot of work. And she stays in touch with them. And I don't know. Somehow there's that. And so maybe there's some sort of, falling out. Or not falling out, but like one of them moves away and she starts to have this bad stuff. And then like the award is that for her doing so good. Like, that's what the award is. Like, there's some sort... Again, just that there's some sort of narrative connection to the award, because I think and I don't remember, but I don't remember because it wasn't special. It's like, is that an award for excellence for developing this surgery and doing such a good job on this one little girl, or it's just an award that's there? No, because the award is in the background of the VHS tapes, so it's an award that's already been there.
Yeah, so it's not even. I think that was like, that's what I was trying to say, or not, that's what I was saying, just not very articulately. Is it just feels random? Like it feels, and it doesn't even feel like, and it doesn't feel cool enough to be an icon. You know, if this is some extended universe that backwards Gabriel man uses a spearhead trophy as a weapon, and for the record, I don't think that thing would have survived even the first killing. So
well. Here's the thing. I don't think it would have survived being sharpened because it's probably not fucking weapons grade steel.
No, trophies are cheap. And sure, it's a nice trophy, but like whatever it's plated in, at least the coating would come off, you know? This is like super
The coating did come off on the edges.
Oh, okay.
No, this is good. I think this is what the coating did come off on the edges where she sharpened it. But yeah. I don't know. Also, going back to her having a head wound this entire time, why is her having a vestigial twin not anywhere in her fucking medical record? She goes in, she has another miscarriage. They know about her other miscarriages, but they don't check her head wound on the back of her head that's probably there and obvious. And, you know, like it's not in her, oh, so I see you had a spinal procedure to remove a second person from you. Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. Have you noticed any problems with that? Okay. Have you used to share a brain with this entity? Okay, yeah, this is all in your file, and you know. And even if then that's the time that she discovers it, but nobody.
It's dumb and it doesn't make sense, but it's all there just for stupid trope reveals. Like that's it.
Well, and that's the thing. Even with the sword, going back to the sword, is that. Yeah, it is kind of stupid if you think about it. It breaks down and it's not that cool, but it's there to be aesthetically pleasing and to sort of connect.
Yeah, it's a lot of substance, or it's a lot of style over substance, which is fine in a movie. Period. Not even any movie, but I don't know. Maybe we're fixating on the wrong thing, on the stupid weapon, but it was dumb.
Yeah,
it was dumb. Like it just.
I just think there was an opportunity to have a connection there.
Yeah, because it's essentially a revenge story, you know, and her getting killed with it is cool. I buy that. That's her own thing, but beyond that, it just felt weird. You know, like it would have been maybe more interesting that each person that was getting like revenged or avenged, whatever, by Gabriel. You know, there was some symbolism there. There was some irony there, like some payback, you know, and it makes sense. Here's your reward, whatever. You're killed with it now. And then, I don't know, but we don't know anything about the chubby doctor dude. And there's one more he kills.
That one's the tall doctor. The tall doctor who doesn't even have a scene. Because that's the one that the Detective K creeps up on. Yeah. Because he's like, well, what if this? He kind of like starts to figure it out, and he walks in there, and that's where they have their big fight scene, and then they go down into the underground.
Well, let me just say that fight scene was so. I loved the way. I love the style, I guess, and looking and seeing the underground and the carriages, which were in really great condition, which I didn't buy that. Whatever. It's fine. But
they refurbished them, John.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
It just had this weird rhythm of like the Detective K or Kekoa. I don't remember his name or how to say it, but he would Kekoa, he would shoot the monster. And then the monster would run away. And then he would catch up. And they would fight. And they would shoot at the monster. The monster would be like, oh yeah, he's got a gun, run away. And like that happened 3 times. So it was pretty ridiculous. It was dumb. Like it ruined the stakes where it's like, fuck a gun, runs away. And on the topic of guns being shot at Gabriel, like the final body count scene with the cops.
Oh my gosh, dude.
There's no reason why any of them would have missed at that scale. And
Bro,
it's not.
Gabriel's
it's like
final body count has got to be like just absolutely ridiculous. You know,
probably 100,
like
so 50 to 100.
He cleared out that entire holding cell, and then he cleared out essentially the entire police department and made his way to the hospital. He probably fucking did some people in at the hospital, and bro, it was wild.
Yeah,
like, and here's I got a little soapbox like story thing moment in terms of like the holding cell like fight. Why is there always a standoff in a holding cell, and everyone's like, hey, the holding cell is where we're gonna go ahead and start the fight, when it's like, I feel like that has been done a lot, so it's like maybe we don't do that, and maybe we do kind of a similar thing to what they did in like Dark Knight, where it's like maybe she's like vibing out and they're like, hey, I'm sorry, you look like you've had a bad night, you don't belong in here, instead of like, oh, pretty girl, gonna go to the country club, we're gonna beat you up in here because it'll do us good somehow. So there.
It was very bizarre. And then the cowboy girl jumping in, the girl with the afro, like in the the setup scene, she's sitting next to the main character, and it's like, oh, she looks nice too. Like they look like they could get along. Like there's just, and all of a sudden she just becomes a piece of shit and starts beating her up, and it's like, what the fuck? Like there's like million like stereotype of people who would be assholes in that room.
Yeah.
And that was the one I did not expect. Which it sounds minor, but it just added more to the bizarre, like, why the fuck is this happening? Obviously it's so that the fight, it awakens him or whatever. But yeah, I agree. The whole thing of like these, like, it's just jail too. So it's like not even the worst of the worst criminals. It's like half people
it's just jail. It's just people who got picked up off the street that day.
Yeah, people having a bad day. It's not. Yeah.
Like, that's why I don't understand that's like where that's the thing, because it's like the holding cell, jail makes sense. And again, jail makes sense because, listen, you're going to be there in a while. You've got to go ahead and establish some boundaries. If you're in a holding cell, I mean, I'm sure there's fights to start because people are drunk and stuff happens and, people are already like up. But for the most part, it's like, if you're in a holding cell and we're with a bunch of people, it's like, shit, man, I really fucked up. I got a DUI, or I'm at my lowest point, and this is before I go to jail. Like, it always feels like a bad idea to fight there. And because they always get beat up by the main character.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing. Is like, if you're in a holding cell, know if you're the main character or not.
Yeah. I'd say that's good advice. Not go to jail, but just know if you're the main character or not when you're in the holding cell. And or just don't pick fights.
Yeah. Bro, his face was so much like the mummy's face. I was like,
I did, yeah.
Ugh.
It kind of reminded me of the little mummy monkeys from the Mummy Returns. If I'm remembering
okay,
right.
yeah. I buy that. But yeah. Man, he really did go hard on those.
Yeah, it was like John Wick, Gabriel Wick, just going ham.
Gabriel Wick. Oh, man.
Gabriel Hamwick. I just did not. It's just dumb that no one was able to shoot him. Like, it made the stormtroopers
He's
look
moving
good.
so fast, John.
I guess. And
he's moving so fast.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. And maybe, like, because he's in the middle and the cops don't want to shoot each other because they're 360, coverage, fine.
Yeah,
but,
There was another line that I thought was really funny. It was when the lady detective came in and was like, I think when she saw the large doctor all stabbed up, and like they were proved right. She was like, "Oh, cock knockers," and I was like, "That's a weird." Listen, I don't know. In some ways, I'm like, "Hell yeah, that's weird as shit." In other ways, I'm like, "That's a weird way to not say, oh fuck."
Well, they like made her a weird comedic relief element, like when she popped the lollipop in her mouth at that perfect cutoff, or that there's just good comedic timing there with the edit and the performance, and her just skepticism and whatnot. It was a weird character to have be comedic relief because she didn't even really fully commit, or that wasn't even really written to be that character.
I don't know. They didn't let her, I don't think, fully commit, is what I would say. Is I feel like she had a lot of opportunities and stuff there, but I don't think they let her fully commit.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's what I was saying earlier. Is like, I really wish they had leaned into the sister character and the other detective, the lady detective, who's like, this is the worst. This is not good. This is what's clearly happening. Can we please go ahead and get this started? You know, instead of pretending like it's something that it's not.
I feel like the setting of this movie as Seattle works against it. Like, I think like the opening scene with the insane asylum, you know, on the Rocky Coast or whatever, remote. Yeah. Like, if it stayed remote or small town, I think it would have made it a little bit more interesting. Because it's in Seattle, and Seattle's a place it's a big American city, it has tons of personality, and then you throw in these Gotham sets. It's just weird.
Or they should have, or you know what they could have done is they could have had it in like, hey, this is Beaverton. This is Beaverton, Oregon. It used to be, or like, you know, it used to be what Seattle is now. So underneath we have this wonderful city atop of our tiny little tourist destination town, you know? Something like that, where it's like you kind of get those same things. Because I do, like, now that you pointed it out, it would have been much cooler. And I think maybe that's another thing where it feels like sort of like jigsaw pieced together, where it's like her house feels very suburbs and then everything takes place within the city. If she was having this stuff and she was in the city, you know, like at her like little city apartment or whatever, instead of in her sort of like palatial suburban rundown historic house, like I feel like that would have been a lot cooler.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I think because like when we were talking about earlier, I pictured just an apartment, you know, brick apartment, super stylized.
Yeah.
Like what if at the police station, the hospital's sterile, you have the insane asylum, like it just what is like the only reason this is in Seattle is for the underground city bits. That's the only reason that that's the only distinguishing thing about this about Seattle in this movie. And that's really cool, and I love it, and I looked it up, and I want to go. I love that kind of shit. But
oh, that's real?
Yeah, elements of it. It doesn't look as cool as it does, I think, but
well.
It that's it. That's the only reason. That's not like, and I think that becomes its biggest weakness too, is that it either doesn't use Seattle enough, or it just didn't need to be there, and that's why it feels so weird, because it's just weird. I don't know how to. I think maybe a fictional city, or a city like a big city in like a big small town in Texas maybe would have felt good.
Oh, Texas.
I'm just trying to think. Like, I'm trying to think of where there's big small cities, you know, and like Texas is something.
You know, there's not like there's. I'm trying to think. It's like there's not a lot of. I wonder too. I'm thinking about it. It's like there's not a lot of like there's not a lot of like horror like this. In I mean, I'm probably wrong. There's probably a lot of examples of it, but like this sort of what kind of horror would you call this? Like, I mean, sort of possession-y type stuff.
I mean, it's kind of horror-y for the first. Let me look. I mean, first half of the movie, it definitely feels like a horror movie, especially when she's seeing it or thinks she's seeing it, and you have this elements in the house. But I think right after the kill of the chubby doctor, and when she sees his face, sees the face of Gabriel, we really we really lose the horror, and it becomes a superhero action movie, which I'm fine because I'm a big baby.
Okay, yeah.
And I was able to just watch it, enjoy it, and not hide behind my phone or my hands. Yes, I do that.
Yeah.
I screamed and scared everyone in the room, so I got yelled at for that. It's on a side thing. It's like I was like, oh, I'm not even scared of it. You scared me. It's like it's such a fucking convenient cover up for you that people use that on me so much, and it's like, nah, you're scared too. I just amplified it.
Nah, you're scared.
I'm sure I amplified it,
Yeah.
but like, come on.
You're scared, okay?
But I'd say it's a horror movie for the first half, especially because of who made it and the way it is, by the I don't know,
Well,
by the way it's shot and the creepy things and the tension and building up to that kind of stuff. It definitely hits that, but it stops being that, and it becomes like John Wick horror superhero movie after that.
That's a weird the interaction between Detective K and the Sydney, I think her name is, maybe Maddie Hassan's character, the younger sister.
Yeah.
Is weird. The fact that they're in the middle of this like murder thing, and they still find time to like even just like subtly give her eyes. I don't know. It's a weird vibe.
Hey.
But I was gonna say is that the reason that I was saying that about like because it was very interesting what you said about like it being in Texas or whatever. Because I was like, I haven't like there's not a lot of horror like this in like desert or like open places where it's like because you can see forever, and it's kind of a product of like where the place where it's like there's nowhere to hide in the desert, there's nowhere to hide from your bullshit.
Does It Follows use
like,
that?
I don't know. It's been a minute since I've seen It Follows.
Same.
But I was gonna say it's like when you see like a lot of the stuff, it's like in places where there are trees, or it's in cities where there's a lot of places to hide and there's a lot of corners, and it's like in the desert or in places like that, you're kind of exposed. So that's not really the thing that scares you.
I mean, that'd be a fun concept to study in terms of writing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm intrigued. I like it.
Yeah. What is that? What's the feeling there?
I mean, maybe something with like getting lost in the desert, heat stroke, seeing stuff, but it's actually a thing. I don't know. Maybe a Chupacabra play, like a play off of the Chupacabra.
Chupacabra for sure, dude.
Like reimagining it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. So, as we kind of go through, what are you? What's our like the thing that we're setting up? We've got. You have to see it in theaters. You should see it in theaters.
I say
stream it.
Yeah.
Stream it with friends because it's stream it if you want to, if you like it, or don't see it. Is that our little five point structure?
Yeah, I think it's a concept.
It's a concept
of in there. But my recommendation would be just stream on HBO Max. If you got it. If you don't got it,
Yeah.
get it. And then you'll have it for the price of a movie ticket that you would have gone to see this, and you could see other shit. But in terms of on a scale, it's a stream it movie. I give it 3 out of 5, which may be a half star too high, but I gave it that because it was fun to watch. I didn't like it, but it was fun to watch, and it became like it was almost stupid too at the same time, and that made it fun.
Yeah.
So that's what those are my 2 rankings. How about you?
I hear you. Okay. I'm gonna give it. I think you should stream it with your friends. I don't think it's. I guess that's sort of the qualification there, where it's like if you just stream it, and just so you could watch it, do it. I don't think it's worth just watching it by yourself. I think that it's good to watch, and it's good to watch with people to enjoy it. with people, but I don't think it's good enough to stand on its own.
Yeah, I agree,
know?
and that's how I watched it and how I enjoyed it. So I changed mine to stream it with friends too.
Yeah.
And still,
Yeah.
get HBO Max if you don't have it. Instead
And
of going to the
HBO
movie
Max. Well,
theater.
that's where you'd stream it.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching, bud?
I watched 12 Strong, which is like a Chris Hemsworth movie. I watched it on 9/11. I'm also watching a 9/11 documentary that started 9/11. But 12 Strong is like about fourth group or fifth group, I don't remember which, but like Green Beret Special Forces who are like the first people on the ground in Afghanistan. It kind of follows that, and they're like riding horses around. They were aligning with the
I
the Northern
remember when
Alliance.
that trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie, and I felt like watching something related on that day besides the documentary, and so I guess that's what I picked. And I saw the Evil
Was it
Dead,
Nice. The
And,
new one or the original one?
the original 1981 one,
Nice.
and that was a fun movie.
yeah.
It felt like people who made it really loved making it, and that made it fun to watch. On top
Yeah.
of it just being fun to watch, so yeah, those are the two I saw.
There you go. I saw. I've been watching those Untold documentaries on Netflix. I think they're through ESPN, maybe. But I watched the one on Christy Martin, who was a lady boxer, and that was really fascinating. She was a really good lady boxer, but obviously, all those documentaries are about people who are both very good, but then like some shit happens. So some shit happens. And sometimes it's not the vibe, and it's sad. And then I finished reading Dune.
Nice. How'd you like that? I'm thinking about
I
I'm gonna do
loved it.
audiobook, I think, before I I'm doing the audiobook before I watch it. So I need to get on that cuz it's got to be coming out soon, right?
I think it comes out October 1st, bud.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I won't get that done.
And it's an 800-page book.
Yeah, that ain't October 22nd. I got some time.
Oh, is it October 22nd? I thought it was October 1st. Maybe it's October 1st in Europe or something.
Yeah, I got to finish Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows first, so we'll see if that happens. I don't think it will happen in time, but a man can dream.
Well, that's what I watched. Is I watched those pages flick, and I was like, hell yeah, fear's
Nice.
the mind killer.
Nice.
Let's go, dude.
Well, we got a slate of a couple movies coming up. If all goes to plan, totally could not, but we're gonna watch Any Given Sunday, the Al Pacino flick, in honor of the NFL season being back, and then we're gonna watch A Fellowship of the Ring. No other words
we will.
needed for that. It'll be hard. I'm more curious, like how we're gonna talk. Like are we just gonna gush about it for an hour? I'm fine, but it's like that's what it's gonna be. So that's what we got.
But now
coming
you
up.
see, you've cursed us, dude, because you know what always happens whenever we're like, all right, we're gonna plug the one we're gonna watch in the future. It always ends up getting fucked up somehow.
We'll get it. We got it.
We got it this time though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Make sure you hit us up on Twitter at Stinky Podcast. Tell us what you think you should watch next. Tell us why this one was your favorite James Wan movie. Tell us why your least favorite. Tell us why you think Maddie Hashin should be cast in more stuff because she's from Wilmington. I don't know. That's literally my own. I don't know her. That's it. She's from Wilmington.
Nice.
Oh, and then, I love you. Thanks for listening. And as they say in Seattle, cock knockers.